Hello, my name is Bonnie Decker. I am a public health consultant here today to discuss with you, the Attorney General's Office, the environmental and health impacts of a proposed dredging project along the Hudson River. The industrial chemical compound known as polychlorinated biphenyl, or PCB, has been demonstrated to have numerous negative side effects on humans, with proven risk as a carcinogen and a contributing factor in immunological, reproductive, neurologic, and cardiovascular illness. Unfortunately, PCBs were massively produced and then dumped prior to their discovery as an environmental and health hazard. The Hudson River in New York State was identified as one of the most contaminated PCB dumping sites in the country. Because of the propensity of PCBs to bioaccumulate, they pose a significant human health risk, particularly among the many people who continue to fish and source food along the Hudson River. The primary objective of the Hudson River Dredging Project is to accomplish a significant reduction in human exposure to PCBs. Because of unsafe levels of PCBs in the river, advisories have been put into place prohibiting use of the river for fishing and other recreational purposes. A river that has been utilized by humans for generations is currently dedicated as off-limits to those who live alongside it. Dredging of the Hudson River would make this area available for recreational enjoyment and safe fishing, promoting a healthy environment for the human population to enjoy. PCBs have also been proven to affect the health of marine life, with the most significant effects demonstrated at the top of the food chain. High levels of accumulated PCBs in marine mammals have been associated with symptoms similar to those found in human exposures. PCBs tend to be non-water soluble and therefore rest primarily in sediments. When sediments are disturbed, as they are in the dredging process, it transiently increases the measure of PCBs in the river. Furthermore, the disruption of the benthic sediment layer may disrupt marine animal life and seagrass beds that hold an ecosystem of their own. The Hudson River has not been dredged in some time because of the concern of PCBs. The lack of dredging has resulted in an accumulation of silt that prevents commercial boats from utilizing the river. If the river is dredged, it provides the opportunity for industrial and commercial activities, with many potential implications for the surrounding environment that will need to be considered. Those who continue to fish from the river despite advisories have been shown to have elevated levels of PCBs in their bodies and are at an increased risk of cancer and other harmful side effects. By reducing the amount of PCB in the river, then a simultaneous decrease in harmful effects caused by PCB exposure may be expected. The ability to enjoy the outdoor opportunities of a safe river will promote the health and well-being of the humans who live nearby it. Similarly, dredging will reduce the exposure of marine wildlife from the negative effects of PCBs. In turn, healthy habitat for fish and wildlife promotes safe and healthy sources for human food consumption. Healthy fish equates to healthy humans. By and large, living organisms stand to benefit from dredging. The disruption of the benthic layer during dredging will temporarily increase PCB levels. As mentioned previously, many people continue to fish out of the river despite warnings. If humans continue to fish during that time despite advisories, they will have a temporarily increased exposure risk. Another negative health implication of dredging is the possibility of further harm from environmental exposures if the river is made readily available for commercial use. Examples could include direct disruption of marine wildlife, noise pollution, or the potential of future chemical contaminants such as an oil spill. To address the concerns of human consumption of fish during PCB-contaminated sediment disruption, interventions could include increased community education, utilization of local media, and recruitment of help from resources such as the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Water quality may also be monitored and provide a signal to halt or stop dredging if water quality is impacted too greatly. It is worth noting that even if people do continue to fish from the river, sedimentation toxicologist expert Peter Adelson has indicated that short-term high exposure is much less significant than long-term exposure risk. To quote from him directly, "These risks are always long-term risks because they are carcinogenic risks. If you have a massive exposure, of course, that would be an acute toxicity and non-carcinogenic, and that can happen even with PCBs, but most of these contaminants are at such levels where they are actually long-term risks. So we are trying to reduce the human health carcinogenic and mutagenic risks, not so much the acute risk for humans." To address commercialization concerns, it is recommended that the river be closed to commercial use for an initial period of monitoring and to give habitat time to rebuild adequately. To reduce noise pollution, boat size can be restricted. The river will already be under intense scrutiny of chemical levels, so early detection of any contaminants from industrial activity could be readily identified. If disruption of marine wildlife is a concern, seeking status as a protected area is a possibility. In consideration of the long-term risks to the human population posed by the presence of PCBs in this essential river area, dredging of the river is recommended. Consider monitoring of the water column at weekly intervals during the dredging process. After completion, implement a cycle of 5-year reviews by the EPA for ongoing monitoring. With appropriate precautions, the benefit of dredging is clear. Significant reductions in human hazards can be accomplished, in addition to the restoration of a healthy environment along the Hudson River. I appreciate you taking the time today to consider this proposal. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me at bdecker2@une.edu. Thank you.